recording to start.
I don't know, does that include us?
Yeah, everybody.
Okay, just making sure.
You all promise to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Yes.
You the neighbor on which petition?
The other one,
The first one.
the first
This
one.
one.
I could have said that from the start.
Morning.
I'm going to call this hearing to order. My name is Michael McHenry. I am the hearing officer. I'll be the one conducting this hearing. And I will make a decision based on the evidence that is presented today. You will be treated with respect, and I ask that you also treat everyone here with respect. If you are asked a question, you must answer either yes or no. You can't simply shake your head. This is petition number 86, and this is the applicant, the Wood Family Living Trust, owner of record, the request for a variation within the E3 district to allow for a frontage of 21 feet from the required.
You know, that's
You're reading the other one.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
94 is the version. Starting with.
94, okay.
94. Didn't sound right.
Yeah.
Well, it did to me. This would be 94, and this would be the applicants Patrick M. Walsh and Shelley A. Walsh, owners of record. Request is a variation within the A1V agricultural district to allow for a setback of 2 2/25 feet from the minimum 30-foot required from the west property line and 8 feet from the minimum 20 feet required from the north property line. The subject property consists of 0.20 acres and is located at the southeast corner of the intersection of Center Court and Gardner Road in Algonquin Township. Common address 8706 Gardner Road, Fox River Grove, Illinois. PIN 2017-430-001. And the adjacent land use would be, to the north would be single-family residential open space, to the south would be single-family residential, to the east would be the Fox River, to the west would be single-family residential, and to the north, south, and west would be A1 agricultural /LN, to the east would be the Fox River, that would be the adjacent zoning, and the current zoning is A1V agricultural district LN with variances having been previously granted. In the 2030 plan, it is designated residential environmentally sensitive, and the property contains a 2-story brick and frame residence, wood deck, asphalt driveway, oddly enough, a chicken coop, chain link fence.
No chicken.
Okay.
Want a chicken coop?
And they're hoping to put a residential addition to the northwest portion of the property. And there were previous variations granted. And for the record, would you state your name and spell your last name, please?
Patrick M. Walsh, W-A-L-S-H.
And what are you hoping to do?
We're looking to expand our garage a few feet to the west and then across the entire west side of the house. Basically where the cars are parked.
This is the one that the road commissioner had the concern about?
No,
No, that's,
the other one.
can you go back to that visual, one before?
So basically where the white car and the boat are, just do the garage.
Okay, that's where you're hoping to do the garage.
Yes.
Okay. And currently you're using that just to put a car there and some other things?
Just asphalt parking right now.
Okay. Do you have asphalt or is it gravel?
That's asphalt.
All right. Have you talked to your neighbors about what you're hoping to do?
I have.
And what have they said?
Nobody expressed any concern, and 2 said there should be no reason why it wouldn't get approved because others have done some other things in the past.
And can you describe the roadway that you are on?
From what perspective?
What's it like? In
It's,
terms of uses, how many cars go?
It's a dead end
it's a dead
road.
end. There's no, Center Court is literally, you see the 2 houses to the right, and there's, I think, 3 to the left of Gardner Road, so it's a dead end. Very, very little traffic other than.
If you don't live
Amazon
there,
trucks.
you're either lost or visiting someone that lives there.
Okay. I did notice that you had the sign posted. Where is the septic in reference to the garage that you proposed to build?
It's in the back of the house.
Okay, and you have adequate space if you need a replacement?
For septic?
Yes.
Yes.
And where is your well in reference to that?
That's a good question.
Isn't the well in the back of the septic is on the side? The well's that thing that is covered with that.
Yeah, I don't have an answer to that question.
And
I wouldn't think it's in the front. Our well pump is in a hole in the floor of the existing garage.
okay. What does that do?
As far as the well
Yes.
location, so I tried to research that and I also came up a little bit empty on exactly where it was, but my understanding is that it is either just south of where the garage is or just west of where it is, somewhere around that corner of the property, the southwest corner of the property. But it would not be, as far as I understand, it is not in the vicinity where the addition is proposed, but you will need to receive approval from the health department. They'll need to confirm the location of the well prior to us issuing a building permit for the structure.
Okay, and the roadway that you're on is a T intersection, is that correct?
Correct.
And some of your neighbors' homes are relatively close to each other, are they not?
They're very close, yes.
And that's fairly typical in that neighborhood,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
I think the support that we've been getting from the neighbors is they all kind of feel like everyone needs this, right? There's nowhere else to park, so they've all have their garages in the same vicinity.
Okay. And how big is your existing garage?
Oh, it's like 12 feet or so wide and 17 feet deep, I believe. It's more of a shed.
Yeah, the neighbor calls it a shed.
Okay.
I can't get a car in, the door's too narrow.
With the proposed location, you won't in any way interfere with your neighbor to the north, will you?
No.
Because there's a fairly sizable amount of distance from where the garage will end to where your neighbor's property or home would be, is that correct?
Yes.
So you're not going to be impeding any light or airflow or anything like that?
No.
And there really is no through traffic that goes
No.
past your property?
No.
Okay. We do have some standards that have to be addressed. Let me give you a copy, and we'll go through those. You may have already answered that with the petition, but you need to do it.
Do you want me to go through and read these and answer them right now?
Yes, but let me state it first,
Okay.
because I might be able to help you. Isn't it true that the particular surrounding shape or topographical condition of the specific property involved would result in a particular hardship upon you, the owner, as distinguished from a mere inconvenience if the strict letter of the regulations were carried out? Isn't that true?
Yes.
Good answer. Your property is unique because you are at the end of this T intersection and there is no through traffic, and you won't really be impeding anyone from the use of that road. Is that correct?
Correct.
Is it also true that the conditions upon which the application for variation are based are unique to the property for which the variation is sought and are not generally applicable to the property within the same zoning district? Isn't that true?
Yes.
And your neighborhood is an older neighborhood that kind of developed to some extent before all the current zoning rules were in place. Is that correct? And isn't it also true that isn't it also true that the purpose of the variation is not based exclusively upon a desire to increase the monetary gain realized from the property? Isn't that true?
Yes.
And you're simply hoping to be able to have enough garage storage space so you can store the things that you need, correct?
Correct.
Isn't it also true that the alleged difficulty or hardship is caused by the ordinance, has not been created by any person presently having an interest in the property? Isn't that true?
Yes.
And again, the zoning ordinances came into play to some extent later than potentially some of the development of your neighborhood, correct?
Correct.
And isn't it also true that the granting the variation will not be detrimental to the public welfare or injurious to other property or improvements in the neighborhood in which the property is located?
Yes.
And isn't it also true that the proposed variation will not impair an adequate supply of light and air to adjacent property or substantially increase congestion in the public streets or increase the danger of fire or endanger the public safety or substantially diminish or impair property values within the adjacent neighborhood. Isn't that true?
Yes,
If anything, this will improve to some extent the values in the neighborhood, correct?
correct.
Because you currently store certain items like a boat lift and other things on the spot where you're going to have the garage.
Correct.
So this way you'll be able to store things more indoors. Is that correct?
Yes,
And is it also true that the granting of the variation requested will not confer on you, the applicant, any special privilege that is denied by this ordinance to other land or structure of the same zoning district? Isn't that true?
yes,
If a neighbor had a similar situation and made a similar request, would you think that that request should be granted?
yes.
Is there anything that you wish to add?
No, I went out to the site just to confirm that there was not any concerns with sight lines, anything like that. It's essentially squaring off that, that corner of the house there. The previously granted variations were actually closer on the north side, so that was not a concern for me. And as I mentioned in my staff report, the south property line already had a 2-foot variance because of a previous addition. So I think this is just allowing him to utilize his property more efficiently, so.
Anything else that you wish to add? With that, I would recommend approval of this, and what that means is we'll go to the county board at a meeting on,
December 16th.
and you do not have to attend that. In all likelihood, you'll be on the consent agenda. You can certainly go to see what happens.
Okay.
My vote is simply a recommendation. The county board is free to make their own decision. They can agree to it, they can disagree to it, or they can conceivably condition it. But at this point, I would approve it. So
Okay, thank you very much.
Did you leave that one sheet that I gave you just for the next one?
You want to go back to the
Go back on
86?
track. Okay, so which one would that now be?
So that's 86.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, you were here on 86? Yep. Want to step forward?
All the way up to you?
No, before you take a seat, would you raise your right hand? Swear to tell the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Would you? And are you here on this one?
Yes.
Okay. And for the record, would you state your name, please?
Dan Wood.
And where do you live?
Where do I currently live?
Okay, all right, sure,
Stillman Valley.
all right. And for the record, this is the application 25-86. The applicant would be the Wood Family Living Trust, the owner of record. The request would be a variation within the E3 estate district to allow for a frontage of 21 feet from the required 250 feet, and also a minimum lot area of 2.8 acres from the required minimum of 3 acres. The location would be, the subject property consists of approximately 2.8 acres and is located on the east side of Walkup Road, approximately 250 feet north of the intersection of Edgewood. The PIN would be 1417480023. Current land use designation is vacant, and the adjacent land use to the north, south, and east would be single-family residential. To the west would be single-family residential vacant. The current zoning would be E3 estate. The adjacent zoning would be A1 agricultural / R1 single-family residential to the north. To the south would be E1 and E3 estate. To the east would be R1 single-family residential, as would be single-family residential to the west. Current designation on the 2030 plan is residential, and the platted survey indicates that there was a barn previously removed from the site in the past, and the only structure would be a silo. Can you tell me what you hope to do,
We would like to build a barn dominion,
and what exactly is that?
like a pole barn with living quarters in it.
Any comment on that?
We've been seeing a lot of them lately. It is per code. As long as it meets the residential building code, we do allow for those.
Okay. As to the barn aspect, what would you be hoping to do with that?
Store things in it.
Okay, would you be having any animals?
No, a dog.
Well, the dog
Not
doesn't,
not barnyard.
the dog
animals,
goes
no.
in the house, not in the barn.
No barnyard animals. We did used to have horses on that property back in the day, but
And the state E3 would allow for some amount of animals, would it not?
Some, yeah, horses, bees, a few chickens, but it is limited because it's less than 5 acres. They would not be allowed to have certain farm animals.
Okay, would they be allowed to have up to 3 horses, or because it's less than 3, would that be 2?
So they're allowed 3 horses for the first 2 acres, and then another horse for every 14,000 square feet. So you have to do the math, but it'd probably be about 3 or 4,
we don't
4 or
have
5
horses.
horses.
Why is it called a barnuminium rather than a house with a big garage?
I don't know. Probably because it's steel structure.
I think it's more the aesthetics that, you know, that style that.
How's
that's what
expensive to build?
You obviously don't live on the property because it's currently vacant, is that correct? So where do you live?
I live in Stillman Valley.
And do you have relatives in the area of the
My mom's
site?
house is attached to that property.
And what is your mother's name?
Edith Wood.
And how is it you were able to combine these 2 parcels? What did you do?
I applied for a variance to combine the driveway with the rear property. So it used to be 2 separate pins.
Okay. And have you always owned both separate pins?
My mom owns all of them.
Okay. So have you, let's strike that. Are you currently the owner of either of the parcels?
No.
And at this point, your mother, through the family living trust, would be the owner of those parcels. In addition to these 2 parcels, what else does she own?
The parcel that's attached to it that she lives on. You can see the little pool in the backyard?
Yes.
That is her property.
How long has your mother owned both of these parcels?
Since 1983.
And if your request were to be denied, what happens to the property?
It stays to my mom.
Is there any current use of the property now?
No.
Is it in any way maintained for agricultural purposes?
No, we mow it a little bit. It's a lot for my mom to handle because she's 86 years old now, 87. So she's trying to get me closer to home so I can take care of the property and, you know, just assist her a little bit.
You appear to have one neighbor currently here. Have you talked to your neighbors other than to your mother or other family members?
No, I don't know any of her neighbors other than the one that lives directly to the east of her.
It appears you're about to meet one of your neighbors.
I think I am.
To the neighbor, can you tell me what you think of the request?
Well, I'm a property right in front, towards walk-up, where you see that there's a burnt-out house on the
Oh, you're
property.
Adrian?
I'm Adrian,
Oh, okay.
yes. Nice to meet you.
I don't know him, I know of him.
I purchased the property adjacent, both two sides of his. I probably have more of a issue on the number 7 of your sheet, where it says that there's special privilege or difference, because I've gone through a lot of things where I've even asked for a variance on my property, and I was denied to even go into it, and they always said, oh, the Plat Act and everything else, and they said, oh, well, some people made a mistake and said I need 150 feet of road frontage, but I know it's 100. And this one only has 21 feet. And they said, no, this is not the time to talk about it, but right now this is affecting my potential to build on the property adjacent to it.
I've been doing this for a fairly long time. I don't recall ever denying you a variation.
Means, I'm not saying you denied. I'm saying that when I went to the planning and zoning and I went through, because originally my property was an A1 and it was.
So you went to the ZBA.
Yeah, and then they said it was unbuildable, and then I had to rezone to R1. And at that point in time, they suggested that when I went to the board, they said that, oh, you should, maybe you can get 3 lots. So that I had to go to subdivision, and I asked them if I get 3 lots. They said, well, the worst case scenario you can do a split. Then I go forward to try to do 3, and then they said, no, cannot do. And there's no, we cannot do anything because of the Plat Act. Then I say, okay, then let's split it. They said, no, we have to go to subdivision. So I've gone through all of these processes, and every time I bring up the gentleman's property saying, you give 21 feet here, and I'm not even asking for anything different. You know, I'm asking for just a split on the property, and they won't bring it up for recommendation for a variance.
Were you aware of that at all? History of that?
Yeah, I kind of came in late on the
Yeah.
discussion on that one, but I think the main difference with this is that Adrian has been looking to create multiple lots out of his property and would need a variance to create 3 lots or more there. This is an existing frontage that has existed since, I believe, the early 80s. So in creating that hardship, well, I guess I should back up. With the subdivision platting process, the variance would have to come after the platting of the subdivision. It's a little bit of a chicken and egg situation because you can't ask for a variance on these smaller lot frontages that he doesn't have permission to do yet. So he'd have to go through the subdivision platting to create these lots and then ask for the variance. But yeah, it's a little bit unrelated just because this is an existing parcel already.
How big is his parcel?
Well, before the road frontage, if a new road goes in, it's 2.04 acres, but some is lost if the new road goes in.
And his property has been rezoned to the R1 residential district.
Right.
Is his property currently buildable?
Yes, for one residence, yeah.
Somebody mentioned a burned out structure. What is that?
The bigger history is most likely that at a long time ago that there was a farm both sides, and the farmhouse, which you can see like a demolition, which is all gone and it's all cleaned up. The house burned on that property under A1, and then because it was A1, there's a lot of things that were totally out of order on this particular property. But what happened was the Crystal Lake Fire Department determined that this was more than 50%, and then they had it demolished, but it was demolished by Nunda Township, which is very odd. And then they didn't apply for any demolitions or anything like this. So this property has a lot of wrong orders to it before, and I actually own a property across the other side of Walkup. So I was looking at it and I was trying to, I determined that it needs to be cleaned up. So I own on the other side of the road as well.
I mean, if this request is granted, while you may feel frustration with governmental rules that you have to go through, it would probably make it a stronger case for you to do some of the things that you might want to do.
Overall, yes, but then there's another thing where it comes into play is the septic and the well positioning, because if they determine for a subdivision, I have more feet that might affect. So it depends on where he puts his potential barndominium or his house or whatever.
If his request, Kim, is granted and he does apply for building permit, what does he have to do in reference to the well on the subject?
I would imagine you would work with the health department to submit soil studies so that they know where these suitable soils are for a septic system on the property.
For this to originally have been zoned E3, there would have been some requirements for soil suitability at that point, would there not?
Possibly. It's not part of the subdivision adjacent to it. I don't think it's actually part of a subdivision at all, my understanding.
No, it's not.
No, so typically that's only done when in a subdivision, so they may not have, and I don't believe there's ever been a residence on this property, just the barn.
No, there was a plant well right next to where the silo is,
But no septic as far as.
it never worked
Yeah.
since '83 it didn't work,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, so the soil samples may have never been done on this property, and that might need to be done.
I don't expect the soils to be a problem. I did soil test on mine, and they said it was good, so.
Okay, but normally the county is fairly careful in terms of installations of wells and septics and trying to make sure it wouldn't impede yours. So, I mean, does that eliminate any portion of your concern?
For me, the biggest thing is because the health department has, they're not always perfectly clear on what they, because of, with a subdivision, they make a range larger for the septic. So if I have to do a split, if I'm able to do a split, they might make a bigger circumference, which would go possibly into his property for the, you know. So that's why I'm a little bit more cautious, because I don't have anything against him, I'm just.
It may be early in the process, but where would you contemplate putting the residence? I mean, to me, it would seem like if you're driving.
Right where the barn used to be.
Sorry?
Probably right where the barn used to be. The barn's still there, it's just flat.
Okay,
You see the silo on the picture? Right by the PM property? Yep, right there. So the barn was to the east of there, and it's still sort of laying there. It's never been removed, as well as the concrete for the basement.
Back in '83, there used to be a lot of flag lots, were there not, Kim?
Yes.
And can you indicate what a flag lot would be?
Sure, so it was typically a small amount of road frontage that went quite a ways back and opened up to a larger parcel.
And if this were to be granted, this would be a classic flag lot, would it not?
Correct.
Back in the day when flag lots were commonly done, this would have been a fairly common amount of road frontage for a flag lot, would it not?
Yes, typically we would see anywhere from 15 to 30 feet on average. Sometimes it was up to 60, but this would be pretty typical.
The good news is I didn't get into a car accident trying to find your sign, which is now on the ground.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, I haven't been there in a while.
But I did see a lot of traffic. What's happening with that road?
Do you know?
No.
If you, I don't know if you saw the property adjacent, which is my property. There is an allowance for, it goes back another 50 feet. So if there is the road, when I talked to the road commissioner, I guess the road commissioner, because I was worried about either if I can apply for a second driveway or use one driveway and split. And for sure, they said they would love to see a split versus another. But it will also affect another house because it's hard to see here, but. So this road is gonna, according to the county, is gonna move, well, actually you can't see, but it'll move a little bit farther back here, so let me see here, about right here. That's why I said prior to, right now I have 2.04 acres, but I'll have like 1.9 or 1 point something at the end, so he'll lose here.
I'm still a little unclear as to what your position is. Are you neutral, or are you against it, or are you favorable?
I would say for my particular position is I would say I feel like I'm forced to say something because it affects me. So if he moves the house and there's no issues with the septic and well and everything else, I'm okay when it comes to my property.
Having been involved with county zoning for a long time, not only in this capacity but others, I have no real concerns about the county in terms of how they handle wells and septic. They've always been, very, very good. We do need to work through the standards. They are in front of you. Number one is the particular surrounding shape or topographical condition of the specific property involved would result in particular hardship upon the owner as distinguished from a mere inconvenience if the strict letter of the regulations were carried out. If your request is denied, can you do anything with the property?
No.
It would simply continue to be vacant property.
Yes.
And the conditions upon which the application for a variation are based are unique to the property for which the variation is sought. They're not generally applicable to other property within the same zoning district. You have a bit of an odd situation in that there was a platted subdivision. Everything was E3, but for some reason this parcel was not included.
I have no idea why it wasn't.
It's just kind of sitting there as a fallow vacant piece
Yeah,
of
my parents
property.
never really used it. We used the barn when we were younger. Like I said, we had horses when we were younger, but once me and my sister moved out, they just kind of, they parked their RV back there. That was about it.
Kim, would you agree that this is kind of a unique parcel? We don't see a lot of these situations, do we?
It is, it seems that some, subdivisions built up around it and kind of left this hanging out there as a remainder, so.
Yeah, all the houses that are behind it now weren't there back when, we moved there. They were horses there too as well. There was another farm back there.
And the purpose of the variation is not based exclusively upon a desire to increase the monetary gain realized from the property. You want to build a barn dominium so you can live there.
Yeah, I mean, I would obviously increase the value of the property, but
But this is property that you spent time on as a child because this is where your family was from, is that correct?
yeah, I grew up there.
And the alleged difficulty or hardship is caused by the ordinance and has not been created by any person presently having an interest in the property. You're not the one that created this lot.
No.
And in the past, this would have been somewhat routinely granted as a flag lot, but then in the 80s at that point, they changed and got away from that. Is that correct?
Correct.
And the granting of the variation will not be detrimental to the public welfare or injurious to the property or improvements in the neighborhood in which the property is located. Is that true?
I would assume so, yeah.
You understand you need to be careful with your neighbor who has some concerns.
Yes.
And are you willing to?
He's actually friends with my mom. So,
So either he agrees
my mom
to
talks very highly of him.
it, so we either get him to agree to it or you sick your mother on him, correct?
I will sick my mother on him.
Okay. I do have some concerns about the road. I mean, it is a busy road. Does staff have any concerns about safety coming in or out of that?
I can't really speak to that too much because other than when I went past the site, I am not in that area too often. I know that there is an existing apron into the,
There is.
Yeah,
We
into the
actually
site.
had to go back after when they did the road to have them cut it in because they just curved right through it.
Right, so the access already exists there. I don't know if any improvements would need to be made to that
There's
once
some
you're
trees there that
building.
absolutely would have to go.
Yeah, once a building permit is applied for a residence, we would look for written approval from the road district anyway. So if they do have any concerns or needed a turn lane or I don't know, they would make that known at that time, so.
The next one's kind of odd in view of what happened to the house that you own. That the proposed variation will not impair an adequate supply of light and air to adjacent property or substantially increase the congestion in public area or increase the danger of fire. We've already had that issue.
Yeah, well,
Or endanger the public safety or substantially diminish or impair property values within the adjacent neighborhood. If you were to build this, you would be improving the value of the property, correct?
I believe so, yes.
And you're going to do a nice job and build a nice barn.
That's what I do.
And that would potentially increase the values in the neighborhood, correct?
Yes.
And the granting of the variation request will not confer on the applicant any special privilege that is denied by this ordinance to other land or structure in the same zoning district. Isn't that true? You have to shake your head yes.
I guess.
Yeah, good answer. Your situation is unique because you are attempting to do a flag lot, which isn't done now, but was done routinely before. But if somebody had a similar situation, do you think that their request should be granted?
I think so, yeah.
Do you have a comment that you wish to make in reference to number 7?
I think I've made my comment. I just wanted it on record that, because this will be brought back when I try to apply, so.
Initially, I had some reservations. Part of it was the traffic, but that's been addressed. I do know the county is not particularly agreeable to flag lots anymore. But I would be in favor of this request. This is a very unusual situation, and you have the family that has owned this forever, and by what they did, they made this into a potentially buildable lot, and the request for the variation down to the 21 feet, I would be in favor of that. And in reference to the 2.8 acres, I don't see any problem with, with that. That's very close to the 3 acres, so I would be in favor of this request. And that again would go to the county board when?
December 16th.
Okay. You can attend if you wish. In all likelihood, you'll be on the consent agenda. Realize that my recommendation is simply that the county board is free to do whatever they choose.
Okay.
Okay?
All right,
We're
we're done.
done.
All right. So I wait until December 16th?
Yeah, could you
Oh, wait, you
leave
leave that. That's right, that's yours.
Whose thing is that?
This is,
The recorder, that's ours.
Oh, that's yours, okay. Don't take
Don't
the
take that.
recorder. Just get out of here. Don't take it.
All right,
Have a good day.
see you, Ken. Thanks, guys.
Alrighty. Jeremy, you're out.
your sweatshirt's over here.
Oh,
Mister.
you left your sweatshirt.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, thought I came in with something heavy.
Say to the neighbor, good luck with what you hope to do.
Thanks, Adrian.
She'll see me. Appreciate your time.
See you later.
And for the record, would you state your name, please?
Jeremy Copley, Copley.
This is the one with
The township.
the township. Okay. And for the record, the applicant would be Jeremy W. Copley from the Living Trust. He is the owner of record. The requested variation within the R1CV Single Family Residential District with conditional use and variation to allow for a setback of 10 feet from the east property line instead of the minimum 50 feet required for detached accessory structure in the effective side yard, and 7 feet from the south line instead of the minimum 10 feet required for a detached accessory structure. The location, the subject property consists of 0.502 acres and is located at the southeast corner of the intersection of Hayden Drive and North Stafford Drive in McHenry Township. Common address is 4605 North Stafford Drive, McHenry, Illinois. PIN is 1008178012. And the current land use is single-family residential. And to the north, south, east, and west would be single-family residential. Current zoning is R1CV, single-family residential /LN. And that designation would be applicable to the north, south, east, and west. Current 2030 designation is residential. The property consists of a 2-story frame residence, concrete and frame garage, wood deck, above ground swimming pool, brick and concrete walks, gravel driveways. There are no wetlands, no floodplain of record. And there was a conditional use previously granted in 2002, and a building permit is currently pending for the proposed structure. So what are you hoping to do?
I need to build a storage structure. I'd like to put it at the southeast corner there where that, there's a car parked there. There was a boat there and an old boat lift. Basically that gravel patch has been used for storage for years, and I'd like to put a garage there.
I knew there was a gravel thing with storage.
Yeah.
I mentioned that in the other one, but it's really yours.
I was gonna say that. I think
You were
that's
gonna
me.
correct me.
Yeah.
It was really thoughtful to have people on two different ends of the county. It only took me 3.5 hours to go from one to the other.
Yep, I
I'll
did
do
them all.
better next time.
Yeah.
You live in a unique area, sir.
Yes, I do. Beautiful.
It is beautiful. The road commissioner had some concerns. Normally, when a person like that, especially someone who is as knowledgeable as he is, it is something that one takes into serious consideration. But having been to your property, it's just a dead-end street. If my memory is correct, and correct me because you seem to want to do that, your neighbor has a boat in the
Middle of the street? Yeah.
Does that stay there all year?
No, it's actually, he parked it there, I think they pulled the boat out of the water Labor Day weekend, don't hold me to that. And he's been, like I said, I spoke with Kim when she came out to take some photos. They live in the city, so he's kind of their weekend warriors that come out. He's been back and forth several times over the last few weekends. I actually spoke with him the other day, I was hanging Christmas lights, and he was asking about the garage, and he was excited to see that area developed. And he actually, when he received the certified letter that was sent out, he was concerned at first reading it that the county was coming after him for kind of his storage situations there. But no, and again, I mentioned this to Kim, a fantastic relationship with all the neighbors, and everybody's excited about the development there of that spot.
And for the record, I did see that the sign was posted. You do have a garage on the property, sort of.
Yes, it's, again, I think the stucco is the only thing holding it up. It's directly on the property line, as you can see in the picture there. God forbid it should fall over or just need to be torn down. I can't replace it because it is saddled on one side by the property line, and then the other side is the septic. That's where my septic field lies.
Okay.
I would be in trouble if that thing ever went away. I would no longer have any inside storage for lawnmower or snowblower. I do have one vehicle in there, a classic car that I restored that's sitting in there.
Okay, so that's the reason that you can't expand it or knock it down?
Yes, yes. I have to have
Agree
it.
with that?
Yes, the previous variance that was granted out there, I think was for the setback on that, but you would have to basically go into the exact same footprint as what was there to comply with those variances.
Oh, so that would kind of
Previously.
reset it. I was
I'd have-
concerned.
Yeah, I'd have to check the exact wording of that variance, but I believe it was to allow that structure at the lot line.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, unless you stayed in that exact same footprint, it wouldn't allow you to.
Right. It's too small. I mean, I can't get my pickup truck in there. I got have a 2024 Silverado. We have, as I mentioned to Kim as well, 2 teenage drivers that have recently gained a license, so we have 2 more vehicles. It's starting to look like a used car lot. So again, my whole purpose is inside storage. I have a boat that's typically stored on the water. I have a shore station out on the water. But it would be nice to be able to put that trailer inside. Again, I'd have parking for at least 2 to maybe 3 more vehicles inside that garage, and then a little workshop in the back.
The street is a dead-end street,
Yes,
correct?
correct.
And there is no chance that it's ever going to connect to anything else?
No, they would have to knock down their kitchen, neighbor's house to put a street through there. There's actually, just to the south of there, it's a goofy lot there. I believe there's 5 residences back there. They're all pie-shaped, so there's no chance that there would ever be a road extended through there.
But there will be considerable distance from the structures to the south from where you intend to put the garage, correct?
Maybe define that. So the neighbor does have a garage right along the fence line there. You can kind of see it.
That's farther back, is it not?
That is further back, yeah.
Okay.
And then their house is kind of kitty corner the opposite direction. But yes, I'm not building a garage right on their kitchen, so to speak.
And there are numerous garages that are pretty much right on the roadway, are there not?
Correct.
Okay.
Garages, sheds, what have you. And I do understand that that's, the houses directly to the east are waterfront property. That's technically their backyard, right? That's not considered their front yard. So it's a little different animal back there. But again, being on at the very end of a dead end, I do respect the highway or the road commissioner's concern.
What does he do with the snow when he plows that road? Where does it go?
They push it right up. There's actually a chain link fence at the end of the road there. It's kind of chicken wire and Did you get a
Okay,
picture?
so you will be able to get in and out.
Oh, yeah, they just push it right up to the end of the street there, and, yeah.
So what do they do then? How do they have to back up with the plow?
So he will come in, I think it's a contractor, the township can't even get their trucks back there. Upland, I believe is the name on the side of the truck. So it's a pickup truck, and he will push the snow around the corner towards down southbound down Stafford, and then they just kind of push it all to the end of the street and it just sits there.
I mean, part of the commissioner's concern would be if he was using a full township big plow.
We
Using
can't
a
even get
smaller
a garbage
pickup
truck back there, much less the big orange trucks aren't gonna.
Would you agree to a condition that you wouldn't impede the right-of-way? You would try to make sure that your vehicle.
Absolutely, not even try without, again, I was, thinking through my different hardships that I would face if I had to forego the structural change for the commissioner's request or objection. This is the first property I've ever owned, lived in, that was in an unincorporated neighborhood. I've always been within the city limits everywhere that I've ever lived. And there was always a law that says you can't park on the street after midnight or something like that. I assume that's the case here, even in an unincorporated area. So the fact that anybody's allowed to park on the street without a ticket is kind of, although again, it's kind of like the Wild West down there. The police don't really control a dead end street like that. But no, absolutely not. It's not my intention to park a vehicle in the street ever.
Could you craft a condition to attach to it?
Yes, we should probably do that on the record here. What about just stating that no vehicles parked on the subject property shall encroach into the right-of-way of Stafford Drive? How's that?
Absolutely.
That would be fine. For the record, you do have a beautiful house. It's very nicely maintained. I have to go through the standards that are in front of you. And isn't it true that the particular surrounding shape or topographical condition of the specific property involved would result in a particular hardship upon the owner, as distinguished from a mere inconvenience if the strict letter of the regulations were carried out? Isn't that true?
Yes.
Isn't it also true that the conditions upon which the application for a variation are based are unique to the property for which the variation is sought and are not generally applicable to other property within the same zoning district? Isn't that true?
Yes.
Is it also true that the purpose of the variation is not based exclusively upon a desire to increase the monetary gain realized from the property? Is that true?
Correct.
You have no intention to sell the property, you simply want to improve it to have a garage so you can store things indoors, correct?
Yes.
Is it also true that the alleged difficulty or hardship is caused by the ordinance and has not been created by any person personally having an interest in the property? Is that true?
Yes.
This property was originally platted probably long before the current zoning ordinance was in effect.
In the 40s.
Is it also true that the granting the variation will not be detrimental to public welfare and injurious to other property or improvements in the neighborhood in which the property is located?
Yes.
Is it also true that the proposed variation will not impair an adequate supply of light and air to adjacent property or substantially increase the congestion of public streets or increase the danger of fire or endanger the public safety or substantially diminish or impair property values in the adjacent neighborhood?
Yes.
And you will potentially increase the value of your neighbor's properties because you'll be able to store your things indoors, correct?
Yes.
And is it also true that the granting the variation requested will not confer on you, the applicant, any special privilege that is denied by this ordinance to the property or land or structure in the same zoning district?
Yes.
And you do have a bunch of neighbors who have garages that are actually closer to the roadway than what yours will be. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you will accept the condition that staff has imposed?
Absolutely.
I would then be in favor of this request. Okay.
Is there anything that I need to sign or along those lines, or that just
No,
gets?
this will go to the county board, and then if it's approved, you'll receive the signed ordinance that shows that it's good to go, and then we'll proceed with your building permit application.
Awesome.
Good luck.